Do you want to do what you love and love what you do? Who doesn't? Well, it all starts with finding your why. Because when your why becomes clear, the how becomes real easy.
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, but you, so much more importantly, are a motivated small business owner ready right now to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful, beautiful small business of yours. Hey, big show today brought to you by the very good folk at 99 Designs and Net Registry. I've been seated. Yeah, again, I love being seated. And this time, I've brought two of my kids in to talk about the product that's been sent for me to try. A little bit more on that in a minute. I've got an inspirational marketing quote of the week. In fact, this week's guest is full, like I am talking full of inspirational marketing quotes. Speaking of him, I have a fireside chat with Mr. Passionate himself, Keith Abraham. If you want to find your why, if you want to live with passion, with intent, with purpose, with a big smile on your dial, then you are going to love this interview. Let's get stuck right in.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
Hey, how are you? Thought I'd do a little check-in before we, get into the meat and potatoes of this week's episode 226, in case you were wondering. How's your week been? I've had a ripper. I have had a ripper. Spent a couple of days in Sydney. I live in Melbourne, so I travelled interstate to Sydney and met with a number of conference organisers that I could potentially do work for this year. So it was a pretty much a networking trip. No speaking, just getting in front of people with the idea that, hey, if they meet me, they might like me and they may book me for an upcoming conference, which I'm pretty excited about. Went really well. Also took the time to meet with a past guest, Paul Greenberg, head of National Online Retailers Association. Had a coffee with Paul, bit of a laugh. What a great fellow. Looks like we'll be doing some things together going forward, so stay tuned for that. Also had dinner with a fellow Jeff Bullis, who is he's a social media, use this word lightly, but a bit of a social media guru, and he's Australian. Got, hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers, makes a living out of helping businesses with their social media, travels the world speaking about it, and is going to appear on this show in the weeks to come. Pretty excited by that. Did a couple of conference briefings for a conference I've got coming up in Vietnam. I'm speaking in Vietnam in about 2 weeks' time. That was pretty cool, and did a conference briefing for a road show that I'm doing around Australia shortly for an insurance company. So pretty big week. I listened to this new podcast. Hey, I'm going to start promoting other people's podcasts. I like that. We've got to build this podcast thing, team. They're too good to keep to ourselves. Started listening to a podcast called Startup, which is all about a guy who is documenting the creation of a business, actually, funnily enough, all about podcasting. So loved it. It's one of the most popular podcasts going around in the States at the moment. I encourage you to take a listen, but then come back to the Small Business Big Marketing Show. Did an interview on someone else's podcast on the Tradies Business Show. Thank you to Wazza and Michaela. Michaela, member of the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Well done to you guys for getting that up and running, and loved being on your show. Thank you for that. And I was approached by a couple of overseas brands. They want to sponsor this show. Don't know if there's room for them, and I had to say that because I've got 99 Designs and Net Registry, but I just think it's really interesting that I'm starting to get more approaches by more companies wanting to join the podcasting gravy train. And I'm really honoured that they approach me. So in discussions there, seeing what goes on. But I think it's just another indication that this thing they call podcasting has legs. So I hope you had a great week as well. Hey, if you didn't, stay tuned, because I've got a chat with a fellow very shortly who will light your fire. Righto, coming up, two of my kids joined me to talk MuffNuts. Yep, MuffNuts. And not far away is Mr. Passionate himself, Keith Abraham. But first, a word from our sponsors. So the Small Business Big Marketing Show, if you didn't know already, is brought to you by Net Registry. You know, the one complaint I hear from small business owners a lot is that they can't catch a break with their online marketing. They'll be having the worst experience with their website developer, the site might keep crashing, they're not happy with the design, all that stuff. My advice, talk to Net Registry. Simple. Because they will get your online marketing sorted. Net Registry actually host the Small Business Big Marketing Show's website, in case you didn't know. You don't need to be a pro when it comes to the internet because they are. And they make the whole online marketing thing simple and straightforward. Getting you a domain name, your website hosted, designed, whatever you need to market your small business effectively online. Head over to netregistry.com.au today and tell them Timbo sent you. You know, the Small Business Big Marketing Show is also brought to you by 99 Designs. 99 Designs is your one-stop shop for anything graphic design related. You need a logo, website, you need a brochure, you need a car wrap, a book cover. I'll need one of them shortly. You get an original design from designers around the world who submit concepts for you to review. And here's the thing, it's got a 100% guarantee that you are happy or you get your money back. So there's no risk in using 99 Designs. You know, I found the best designer I have ever worked with and continue to work with on 99 Designs. Hi, Nicola. He actually designed the Small Business Big Marketing Show's logo and album cover for iTunes. Check them out at 99designs.com/SBBM and you'll get a free $99 listing upgrade just for listening to Australia's #1 marketing podcast. Head over to 99designs.com/SBBM. And now, back to the show. So, I've been seeded. I love being seeded. I think it's a great marketing strategy. Seeded is when someone sends me something as a podcaster with an audience to review and share my thoughts and comments and opinions. I have been sent some MuffNuts. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. I won't even explain what they are. But what I have done is brought 2 of my 3 beautiful children in to have a chat about exactly what MuffNuts are, what they thought of them, and how they could market them. And I've got to tell you, pretty proud of the ideas they came up with. Have a listen. So, Willie, you've tried them. You know what they're called.
Yeah.
Steph, you haven't tried them, seen them, don't know what they're called. Correct?
Correct.
All right. That right there, here you go,
Thanks.
is a MuffNut.
A what?
A MuffNut. Do you want to describe it, Steph?
Well, it's obviously a muffin with, looks a bit like jam or something in the middle with cinnamon sprinkled on the top.
Right. Do you know why they're called MuffNuts?
I couldn't even guess.
Really?
Yeah.
It's meant to be a mix.
Oh, donut and muffin.
Correct.
Oh, that's
Reminds me
why
of
it
a cinnamon
smells
donut.
Smell like a donut?
Well, it's
I
'cause of
wanted
cinnamon.
to. Give it a run.
Okay.
What do you think of the name, Willie, while Steph tries the MuffNut?
Took me a second to realise what it meant, but I like it
Why?
because it just describes it.
Would you expect it to taste like what?
Cinnamon donut with jam.
Right. What do you reckon, Steph?
It tastes a lot like a donut. I think it's just all the sugar, all the cinnamon sugar.
Yeah. You could put cinnamon on anything and it would taste really good, I reckon. True?
Yeah.
Almost.
What's the point of it?
Well, what's the point of any junk food? It's not really junk food, is it?
No.
It's just sometimes food.
Yeah.
How many would you smash in a sitting, Willie?
3?
Wow. Just like that. Bang.
Yeah, quite easily.
Steph?
2.
What do you think of the name? Is it rude?
No.
I wouldn't say so.
I was kind of expecting it to taste like have nuts in it.
Yeah.
It's a different texture to a donut.
Yeah, it's more like a muffin.
Mm.
Now, did you know I had a podcast?
Yeah.
What's it about?
Marketing.
The ideas guy.
So, just hypothetically, if you were the marketing manager and you were given the job of making sure every young person in Australia knew about MuffNuts, How would you do it?
I would send people with like big Instagram accounts or Twitter accounts, and I get them to promote MuffNuts.
Wow, I love that. Like, that's what these people have done with me.
Yeah.
Do you think you're famous?
No. But they know that there's people who listen to my show, and that, you know, it's a way of getting increased coverage. So, Steph, sending... Okay, so identifying Instagrammers, YouTubers, social media kind of freaks... Bloggers who have got big followings. Just send them a lot of MuffNuts.
Yeah. Maybe, like, promote them to Baker's Delight.
Well, let's see, you could stand out the front of Baker's Delight, just sneakily, you know, and before people went in, saying, hey, try a MuffNut. I like that idea. Do you see that happen a lot with Instagrammers and YouTubers, where they get sent stuff and then talk about it?
That's how heaps.
What do you think, as someone who watches that stuff, do you then want to try it yourself?
Yeah, if it's an honest review.
What makes an honest review?
They're not just, well, obviously a lot of them, a lot of them are getting really well paid just to do one little 4-minute video about it. But if they say they enjoy it, yeah. So
can you tell when they're being paid and they're not really into it versus when they're maybe still getting paid but are really into it?
Well, normally they'll say, I'm being paid to do this.
So they're honest?
Yeah, they're honest. They're like, I'm going to give an honest review about it.
So does that mean they're not necessarily going to go, unreal, like that tastes like a donut and a muffin and it's everything I ever wanted? They might just go, you know what?
Well, they'll go, it's good because of this, and they say the only thing that I don't like about it is this.
Right. The good, the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
I love your work there, Steph.
I know.
And you saw One Direction last night, so that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, throw some muffins on the stage.
Throw some MuffNuts on stage. Willie, what would you do?
Mine was sort of similar to Steph's. When I was at Flinders Station in Melbourne, getting off the train, I saw Big M promoting their new drinks, just handing them out for free.
What flavour?
Oh, their new recipes, so that chocolate, strawberry and caramel.
Mixed in one?
No, iced coffee. No, not mixed in one, just the different flavours. And they were giving them out for free, and everyone was just so happy with that. So I kind of thought, popular locations of Australia, handing them out.
Do you reckon it would work, when I was your age, I have very fond memories of, close your ears here, Steph, the Big M girls. They had these really spunky girls in their ads.
Bikini car wash.
And maybe you could...
Bikini car wash. It's like that.
Maybe you have those girls handing the MuffNuts out.
Yeah.
And you'd have a photographer with them, and everyone would just get a photo with the MuffNut and the girls.
Or get someone famous to hand out the MuffNuts.
Loving both of those ideas, and now I'm thinking combining Steph's idea with your idea, Will. Hand out MuffNuts at big locations in Australia. The photographer would actually get your phone and take a photo with you, the MuffNut, and the spunky girl or guy for you to upload to your Instagram.
And hashtag MuffNut.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
You can do like a meet-up with famous people and then they can give out MuffNuts.
A meet-up with famous
people? So you wouldn't just be giving them away because people pay to see famous people and then MuffNuts get paid too. You are on it.
You are absolutely on it.
I know.
Did you get your marketing good looks and brain from your mum or your dad, do you think?
Charlie.
That would be our dog.
Yeah.
Glory. Anything else to add?
They were pretty good. I wish I had some more flavours though.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Like a glazed one.
Sprinkles.
Iced.
Now you're thinking. Righto. Well, thank you. Thank you for appearing on the Small Business Big Marketing Show with your dad.
Honoured.
Do you like my dad joke?
No.
Dad, people probably expect you to be in this big, like, radio place and you're just filming it.
Sitting here in my bathers. Hey? Let's go for a swim. Swim the MuffNuts off.
I am a proud old dad. I hope you enjoyed that. I love doing that. I don't know whether that was kind of a little bit kind of navel-gazing on my behalf to bring my kids in and do that, or whether you actually got benefit from it. I reckon they had a couple of cracker ideas there, so let me know what you think. Always can head over to the show notes, hey? smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, episode 226.
tell me what you thought, or hit me up on Twitter at Timbo Reid, R-E-I-D. Righto, let's get stuck in to today's guest, who is none other than Keith Abraham, a.k.a. Mr. Passionate. I love this guy. I met Keith 12 months ago at a conference in Shanghai where we were both speaking. Subsequently, we spoke at a conference in Queenstown, New Zealand, and we've sort of connected ever since. I feel like there were sort of kindred spirits. Do you have people in your life like that? I just have a lovely connection with this beautiful man. So we continue to catch up and talk business and have a laugh. Keith's one of those blokes who can make me giggle, which I kind of like. I love giggling. He's an internationally renowned speaker on passion, on living your passion. He's the author of a wonderful book called It Starts With Passion, which you can buy on his website, keithabraham.com. Listen into this. You'll discover how to get clear on your why. Who doesn't want to do that? Why you're infinitely better than you may think. You'll also discover how to harness your passion to build a better business and a better marketing strategy, hey? Got to love that. Hang around after the interview because I've got my top 5 learnings from Keith. There could have been 10, but I've kept it to 5. Plus, Keith has got some workshops coming up, which you may want to attend. Hey, head over to Twitter. Tell him you heard him on this show. He'll love that. His Twitter handle is at Keith L. Abraham. Tell him you heard him on the show. So I started off by getting clear on what I should call him. You don't mind if I call you Keithy, do you?
No, you don't mind if I call you Timbo.
Correct, hey, mate. Now, for decades, you have been making a solid living, from what I can tell, by helping others live with passion. How did all that come about?
Well, you know, Tim, I was a trainer and presenter in an organisation, but before all that, I got invited to go along to a leadership program. Now, you got to understand that I wasn't a leader. I was, in actual fact, I think I was a bit of an Elmer Fudd. Truth be known, I'm probably still a bit of an Elmer Fudd. I'm a bit of a dud. But in all honesty, I got invited to go along to this leadership program by my boss. Now, I worked at the council. I wasn't that motivated, engaged, enthused or energised about anything in my life except Friday afternoon drinks. And wow. And he said, look, we'd like you to go along to this leadership program. And I thought, oh, geez, I'm not really a leader. And then he said the magic words, you get a week off work with full pay. And you know what I thought? Maybe I'm a leader. Maybe I'm a leader and I don't know it. And so
I can certainly become a leader with a week off work.
I can become a leader. And do I get a name tag?
Yeah.
And so what happened, that put me on a journey of personal and professional development. And
Can I just pull you back there? You said you were working at the council. How long ago are we talking? What were you doing there?
I was a noxious weed inspector.
I thought you were going to say you're an obnoxious weed.
No, I was a noxious weed inspector.
Right.
And so my day consisted of, clocking in at 8 o'clock, going and grabbing a clipboard and a pile of files and driving down the Gold Coast Highway at 100 kilometres an hour looking for noxious weeds.
Wow.
And I didn't find too many. I used to have my morning tea, which was a litre of Coca, cream bun and meat pie, and read the paper for an hour because I believe in a balanced lifestyle, Tim, an hour on, an hour off.
Keith, as listeners are going to find, you are an incredibly positive and passionate person. But back then, were you desperately unhappy?
I don't know if I was unhappy, but I definitely wasn't satisfied.
Did you know that? Did you
No,
go, well, this is my lot in life?
Yeah, look, I honestly did. I thought, I'll just work for the next 40, I'll do the 40-40 plan. 40 years, 40 hours. And in actual fact, I didn't even do 40 hours. I used to, be on a 9-day fortnight. So,
right.
and it was, but then I went along to this program and a guy stood up and it was run by Rotary. It was called RYLA, Rotary Youth Leadership Award. That was 30 years ago.
Sounds terrible.
I know, but it was fantastic because there was about 80 other awardees and we're out in the middle of the bush. And all of a sudden, on the last day, a guy stood up and said, here's what we'd like you to do. We'd like you to write down 100 things you want to do in your lifetime. And I thought, I can do that. Because I've had a whole week of people telling me I can be anything, do anything, have anything, or achieve anything. And so I'm suitably pumped up, fired up, jacked up, and revved up. And I sit under this shady tree with a clipboard. And I thought, I've got this mastered. I can do this. And I wrote down 6 things. And I stopped. and I thought, geez, life's going to be short.
You meant to write 100.
I had to write down 100. And the seventh thing I wrote down, now they gave us 90 minutes to do this. The seventh thing I wrote down in 90 minutes was finish this list. It took me 6 weeks to finish it. I'm on to my 8th list. And to date, Tim, I have been showing people how to start their list of 100. So this is 30 years ago I've been doing this now for. Getting people to help them discover what's important, what matters, and what makes a difference in their life. And to understand that passion is only one component of it. That when you start talking about passion, you need to talk about purpose, you need to talk about plan, and you need to talk about progress.
Now, Keithy, you are racing ahead because I'm still under that tree, mate. I'm still under that shady tree. This is important because I've got a whole lot of listeners all over the world listening to this, and some of them are desperately happy with what they do. In fact, they love it.
Yes.
Others aren't. And they go and they do their personal development, they read the book, they listen to this podcast, they attend a seminar.
Yes.
And I am fascinated by these people like you and like actually someone else who you introduced me to who's been on this show, Joshua Nichols of Platinum Electricians.
Oh, great guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
One of my best interviews of last year. Thank you again for that. But here's the thing. Josh said he too was sitting in some kind of personal development breakfast session from some speaker that he'd been to many times before, like an event like that. But he said on that day, on that morning, the bloke on stage may as well have only been speaking to Josh.
Yeah.
And I'm just interested, and clearly for you, so you might have. Well, it sounds like you hadn't been to many of those types of things.
Oh,
before.
never been to anything like that, Tim.
So what is it? I just want listeners to know that you've got to be open to the universe or something or someone tapping you on the shoulder and saying it's time to step up.
Yeah.
What's that about? How do you do that?
Yeah. I have a little quote. And I keep on saying to people, when the why becomes clear, the how becomes easy. But to even get more finite with the point, when you know your why, the how will find you. And here's what often happens. There's that lovely quote, the universe by I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson. The universe will conspire to give you the answers, to find a way to help you move in the right direction once you know what you want to achieve. And the first piece of the puzzle for most people is to understand that they're better than what they think. And for me at that program, all of a sudden there was a revelation or a light bulb moment that came on that said, you know what, maybe I could do better. Maybe I could be better and do better. And the secret then is action. The secret is not, I didn't then decide, I'm leaving the council, and I just decided that maybe I could, I should try and do something. And the great thing about achievement, Tim, is that when you achieve something, it gives you extra confidence to believe that you could achieve something better or something bigger or something more enhanced or to at least be suitably inspired to take the next step, which could be, at this point of time, uncomfortable or inconvenient.
Aha. Uncomfortable and inconvenient. Like that. I hold that thought. Keithy, did you choose to do this interview in an aviary, or was it just...
I'm sorry. Can you believe it? I live on the Gold Coast, and I have a fair few trees around me. And to be perfectly honest, it just seems to be that everything is all these birds are agreeing with what I say.
Right. Okay, that's it.
Or they love your dulcet tones. Yeah. And that's stimulating them. But I'll tell you what I'll do.
No, you're right, buddy. I love it. I love a bit of ambient noise, and if that's a chorus line of agreeance, then I'm all for it. Now, mate, tell me, you at a point then you have made, because what I want to get clear on, how did you all of a sudden create a beautiful career and make such a difference to so many people's lives out of helping us all live with passion? When did you go and knock on your mate at the council's door and say, listen, I think it's time to go?
Well, it was about, to be perfectly honest, it was about 2 years after that program that I decided that, because I then, joined an organisation called Rotaract, which was, a younger version of Rotary for
rappers.
For rappers, yeah. For young men and women, it's like 18 to 30, 18 to 28. And I got some confidence there, Tim, because all of a sudden people saw me not in the light of being this, council inspector, high school dropout. All of a sudden they saw me in this light of, oh, you know what, he's inspiring or he's enthusiastic. And I went back the following year and was a leader on that program. I spoke on that program. I've been speaking to Rylarians now at that one program now for 30 years.
How fantastic.
This year, about 2 weeks ago. And I recommend to anybody who's got, kids just on a sidebar, who's got kids aged somewhere between 18 to 25 or 26.
That'd be me.
Exactly. To get their kids on. I mean, the Rotary Club sponsors it. They get this wonderful week-long education that helps them to discover really who
How do they find
are.
out about that? That's a good one.
If you go to one of your local Rotary clubs in your area and you just say, do you sponsor, awardees for the Ryla program, which is Rotary Youth Leadership Award, RYLA, Ryla.
Love a good acronym.
Yes, and so it's a fantastic program, mate. They run it all over the world, to be perfectly honest, and it's just it truly, it was a life changer for me, and it is for so many people.
Keithy, let's talk passion.
Yes.
I want to be a little bit contrarian in a minute and challenge you on this. Yeah, correct. I know, but if I'm going to do it, you're the man to do it with.
Yes.
But you now help people from all walks of life live. Is it live their passion or live with passion? And how do you define passion?
Firstly, it's live passionately.
Okay.
That's the now. If you said to me, Tim, look, you can, there's been a law passed and you can never use the word passion ever again. Oh, that's okay. Energy. You want to be around people with good energy, don't you? You want to be around people who are engaged, enthused, and energised.
Gotcha.
And that's my definition of being passionate about what you do. But
engaged, enthused, and energised.
Yeah. You want to, if I was going to employ somebody, I would like to employ somebody who was engaged, who wanted to be there. I would like them to come to work with great energy,
yes.
and I would like them to be enthused at what they're doing. I don't want them to be dragging their feet. I've had people work for me, Tim, and the advice sometimes is, look, we would rather for you to be, want to be here. I'll give you an example. We run a program called Passionate People. We put about 7,000 people through an Australia and New Zealand market through that program. It's a one-day program. It's all about people's personal and professional, it's all about people's personal goals. It's about what's meaningful, what matters, what makes a difference to them. And my philosophy around that is that if people are passionate in their own life, so they're happy in their own life, they're engaged, enthused in their own life, they'll be great at serving your customer regardless of what business you're in. But all too often, organisations want to train people without getting them to understand their reason why first. And once you know the reason why, then the how becomes very simple. And they'll do the company how. And so we've put a whole lot of people through that program. And
can I challenge that too? Because having spent 10 years in a large advertising agency many years ago, they every now and again would put us through personal development things. In fact, they had one thing. The agency was called Clemenger's, and they had a thing called Clemenger University. Now, if you were lucky enough to go on Clemenger University, and I did, 50% of people would then resign.
Yes.
Because they found their calling. Clemenger University was a place to both develop yourself intellectually and personally, and 50% had resigned because it's like life. There's more to life than working in a big advertising agency.
But here's the reason when I say to my disclaimer when I go and run this program in organisations like Australia Post or Westpac or the NAB. Or Sandvik or whatever organisation it might. My disclaimer always is: look, at the end of this program, some people may leave, and to a senior executive, the comment
music to their ears.
well, but they've always come back, Tim, and they've always said, you know what, I'd rather people. I'd rather have people who want to be here than people who have to be here. I'd rather people.
Wow,
I'd rather
that's
people. I'd rather people to leave and be happy than stay and be miserable.
Are they? And they're being honest, I guess.
Yes.
That's a very big statement, because there'd be some out there who wouldn't say that. They'd see that as, they'd take it personally. They'd see it as a pain because there's additional recruitment and cost required and time required. Yes. Better the enemy. What's the saying? Better the
enemy you know than the one you don't. But here's the other side of it, Tim, is that when people resign, they actually quit 3 months ago.
Yeah.
They might resign today, but they quit 3 months ago. Yeah. And the damage they do. I always, and you probably know this story better than I do, but you think of Zappos, the Zappos call center in the US, put people through a 4-week induction program. At the end of the 4-week induction program, they bring everybody in the room. They say, look, you've graduated from the program, and here's what we'd like you to do. We want to make 2 offers to you. The first offer is that you can come and work for us, or you can take this $4,000 check and cash it, and you can leave today.
How good's that?
Now, because people go, $4,000, my God. Yeah. But at the end of but to be perfectly honest, at how much damage would somebody do to your brand, to your business, if they're not fully committed and it's, just a job, or it's,
Zappos is an amazing case study. I must get that fellow on. He's actually, what's the guy's name who owns it? He's written that book.
Tony Hesh.
Tony Hesh. He's very responsive on Twitter. In fact, we did have a little bit of a tweeting conversation. You know what Twitter is, Keithy? You up with Twitter?
Is there a lot of twits hanging
out? You got a little bit of tweeting happening in the background there, mate.
I'm tweeting, mate. I'm a tweeter.
You are a tweeter now, mate.
Can I just say, Tim, for the listeners on the show today, you can go to Las Vegas. If you're in Las Vegas, you can actually go and do a study tour or a tour of Zappos call center, which is quite unique, which is in Las Vegas. And you can do that. I don't think it costs anything, and it's one of those things that you might just be really interested to do if you're passing through, Viva Las Vegas.
Great. What's the book? Something Happiness.
Delivering Happiness.
Delivering Happiness. Great book. Keithy, you touched on the why, and then we moved on. We've spoken a lot about the why on this program. Had a wonderful interview 2 weeks ago with Tina Tower of Begin Bright. She's Telstra Young Businesswoman of the Year, and boy, oh boy, mate, she has nailed her why. And as a result of nailing her why, her business, Begin Bright, which is early childhood learning, a franchise business, is booming. And she, the enthusiasm, the sunshine that came out of her mouth during that interview is pretty much a case study of, I think, what you're talking about when it comes to your definition of passion around engaged, enthused and energised. How do you find your why?
Yeah, it's a process. Tim, I
don't want a process. I just want an answer.
Okay, here's the answer. There's 4 steps. The first is that you got to understand what's meaningful for you, and what's meaningful for you is, I can give you the 5 questions, but it's about understanding what's meaningful, what matters, and what makes a difference to you. So, in essence, what are you passionate about? What were you passionate about? I wrote I get this question a lot, Tim. People say to me, Keith, what do I do if I actually don't know my passion? Well, my first response is you do. It's just I haven't asked you enough questions. And so I created 6 questions, and how about I forward them to you? You can put them on your forum or something like that. And there are these questions that said, what were you passionate about as a kid? Because what you want to do is you want to get yourself first in a state where you're receptive to receive your why. The second part of the process is then working out the milestones. So what are some of the things that would help me? So that's, why is around purpose. So the next piece of the puzzle is around the milestones. And the milestones then start to say, okay, what, long term, medium term, short term. Some people's...
This is a way of seeing change, seeing improvement.
Yes, absolutely. But having something to aim towards. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So it's about having something that you're prepared to stand for, something that you want to be famous for, something that truly does make a difference to you. Why you get up in the morning. Mm-hmm. And for some people, Tim, it's about being the living example. Mm-hmm. The one thing I say to people is that it's about being the living example for the people who mean the world to you, not the talking example. Mm-hmm. And all too often, as professional speakers, we become the talking example, not the living example. So the second piece of the puzzle is around milestones. The third is about mindset. And mine is having the right mindset to understand that you are worthy, you are deserving, you're capable, and it's possible. Mm-hmm. See, all of those questions you can answer yes to. I can answer those questions yes for you, Tim. And you could do that for me. But you have to be able to answer them yourself. You have to say, yes, I am worthy. Yes, I am deserving. Yes, I am capable. Yes, it is possible. I know it's possible for Tim to do it, but could I do it? Yes, you could. And the other is about momentum, not about motivation. Motivational seminars, and I sort of cringe when people say, oh, so you're a motivational speaker. And I go, that's a label that it really just doesn't accurately describe what I do.
It quickly pigeonholes you, doesn't it?
It does. It's like, motivational, sessions, presentations, a bit like a hot bath. They feel really good when you're in it, and you get cold as soon as you get out of it. So it really is about helping people, to create momentum. Where do you get momentum from? Well, you do get it from inspiration. You get it from ideas. You get it from information, like people are gaining from your podcast, and they get insights. I don't think any of and I've listened to some of your podcasts.
You're the one.
People. Thank you. But people get insights from listening to things. Let's rewind this a little bit, because remember what you said there before. What was the thing that did it? And Josh was sitting in that breakfast. Yep. Understand this. Some people are looking for an epiphany, and it will never find them. What tends to happen is, somebody said this to me. I'd always say, why don't people get it? Because you know what, they're not supposed to yet. Some people hear it 50 times and get it. Some people got to hear it 150 times before they're going to get it.
Yep. Yeah, it's like someone. I remember hearing the analogy once. It's a bit like planting a seed in soil. If all the things aren't, if the soil's not right, if the seed's not of a certain kind, if the rain doesn't come, then that fertilisation process just ain't going to happen.
No.
And there has to be a time, but I think it's so bloody subtle that sometimes I think at least what you said before, Keithy, is about being receptive. Yeah. Like at the very, very least, go out, listeners, as soon as you finish listening to this, and say to yourself, as of now, I'm going to be open to can you finish that sentence for me? Because it is open to... I always say the universe delivering, and then I apologise because it's a bit woo-woo, and 50% of my listeners...
Tree hugging.
Yeah. But I'm into it.
But look, I'm a great believer as well, Tim, that, you've just got to put yourself out there. You'll get messages from a billboard, from a bumper sticker. But, the number one reason why most people don't achieve their goals is because it's not that they're not smart enough. It's not they don't have enough opportunities. It's not that they don't have the resources behind them. It's because they don't have any space.
Yeah, nice.
In their life. And if we're going to get woo-woo now, let's really amp it up.
Come on.
See, I think the plate's only so big. And I think people have got so much piled on their plate, for them to have another goal to come into their life, there is no space. And you have to have space. You have to create some capacity around you so that you can, that you can either hear the message, see the opportunity, have the time to action that opportunity along the way.
Love it.
And, meet the person you need to meet. And people are busy being busy.
So that creating space on the plate isn't about getting a bigger plate, I'm going to assume. It's about saying no to some things that are going on in your personal or business life, which then in saying no, it's like that. It's such a release. It's like then you are creating space to let good stuff in. Correct?
Absolutely. And here's what I say to people. Here's a catalyst. 4 questions. For you, for you to achieve everything you want to achieve in your life, in this week, this month, this year, here's the 4 questions. What do you need to stop doing? Mm-hmm. What do you need to start doing? What do you need to do more of? And what do you need to do less of? So let me explain that. What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to stop doing that's not serving you well? Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's actioning everything. Maybe it's, running to the next shiny object. Maybe it's beating yourself up all the time. Oh, I should have done so much more. If I was only smarter, if I'd only got a better, forget that. Stop doing that. Mm-hmm. What do you need to start doing? I need to start saying, what are my 3 vitally important goals that I need to action today? What are the 3 vitally important goals for the year? Not the 23. Now, understand, Tim, I talk to people about 100 goals in their lifetime. But what I do is I go from macro to micro, and I say, what are the 3 vitally important goals that you need to focus on this year? Mm-hmm. What do you need to do more of? See, there are things that you currently do that work really well, but you just don't do them often enough, or frequently enough, or consistently enough. And then what are the things that you need to do less of? There are some things, I'm a realist. I'm pragmatic and I'm a realist. I know there are some things in your life that you cannot totally stop doing, but you can do less of them. You can do them less frequently. Mm-hmm. And so when people articulate what they need to start doing and stop doing, they start to take stuff off their plate. Because at the end of the day, if life is made up of 4 parts. There are things that you love to do. There are things that you like to do. There are things that you have to do, and there are things that you hate to do. Mm-hmm. The challenge for most people, if you look at that as 4 quadrants, the have to do and hate to do are the 2 bottom, and the love to do and like to do are the top. Most people's lives revolve all around the things they have to do and hate to do.
Bottom dwellers.
Yeah, and nothing in the things they love to do and like to do. But we get the energy, the enthusiasm, and the engagement from doing the stuff that we love to do and like to do, so we can go and do the crud.
Not a word that's been used before on the show either, crud. Is it a word?
It is now.
I love that, Keithy. I love the questions that you pose, and they're not... These questions don't require tomes to answer them. Like you are, they are nice, beautifully simple question. And I think so often, I remember interviewing a fellow years ago, Phil McKinney, who came up with the process of killer innovations. He talks about the power of questions that we've got to ask ourselves. And if we're asking ourselves the wrong questions, you're not going to get the answers that, not necessarily the right answers, because we're not trying to manufacture something here. We're just trying to position ourselves in a way that we'll be receptive and be open to the good stuff around passion. Yeah. What do you say? What do you say? And in fact, I said I'd be a bit contrary. And you've kind of answered it. You've taken the wind out of my sails, Keithy.
Oh, sorry, mate.
That's all right, mate. You've done it because you've redefined passion as being engaged and enthused and energised. But a couple of forum members, Justin Getty and Christian, there was a discussion about 12 months ago inside my forum around, and Justin started it. And it's hard to paraphrase, but he makes a good point around... let me tell you what he says. He started this conversation thread. I read with interest that so many people are passionate. The focus on passion or finding a passion is slightly misguided. In fact, he says the word passion comes from Latin term which means to suffer. It means you are out of control, unable to reason, and unable to govern yourself. Yet somehow the word passion has been conscripted as a term to show you are really, really into what you do. When I'm looking to work with people, I don't want to work with someone who can't control themselves. I want someone who's awesome at what they do and enthusiastic to boot, not passionate. And
that question was Christian. Okay, so what I'd say to Christian there
Christian came in and actually backed that up with an example. He works with a lot of retailers who say, "Oh yeah, I'm passionate. I love what I do because I'm passionate about it."
Yeah, but it's got to be a 2-part. You got to be passionate and purposeful. You've got to, and to be purposeful, you need a plan and all of that stuff. What do you mean
to be purposeful?
Well, I mean,
you've got to live with purpose. You've got to go, right, I'm getting out of bed.
You've got to know your why.
Right.
I mean,
gotcha.
how many people are I'm really passionate. Okay, well, what are you going to channel that into? I don't know. I'm just passionate.
I'm just passionate.
Well, guess
Yeah,
what?
I'm off. I'm going.
Get me away from that person too. I'm with you on that.
What do you do have a lovely saying, passion without purpose is it am I
don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I
You're
made
making
it
it up, Tim. Come on.
I am, mate.
Look,
we could make it up though. There's a good quote there, Keith.
Look, there is a great.
Don't race on from that.
Yeah, well, give me a moment. I mean, passion without purpose is
Makes Johnny a dull boy. I don't know.
No, I mean, passion without purpose. You're a little bit like the $3 million man. You got one bionic leg and you do 60 miles an hour in circles.
In circles. I love it. Hey, now what? Let's. There are people here listening who can't find their passion in their business.
Yes.
They maybe got into the business because they inherited it. It was passed down from family member. They got a good deal and bought it cheaply. But you know what, Keithy? They'd rather stay under the doona of a morning than go and open the front door of the shop. What do you say to those poor souls?
Well, look, I say that passion fits into two categories. You could be absolutely unbelievably passionate about the work that you do. I know you're passionate about the work you do, Tim. I know I'm passionate about the work I do. So, and we're fortunate that we earn a living from doing the stuff that we absolutely love. Mm-hmm. The second side of the passion equation is go and find the things that you love to do in your life. It could be photography. It could be coaching your kids' footy team. It could be fishing or traveling, and then utilize your business as the vehicle to provide you with the resources to go and pursue your passion. Mm-hmm. And so make your business, and see, all of a sudden when you do that, your business becomes so much, it becomes a different, it has a different perspective to it then. Because then you go, this is the key, this is the method, this is the vehicle to help me go and do the things I love to do, is travel every year for 4 weeks, to have a 6-week sabbatical once a year, to, have the latest photography equipment and be able to afford to go to Antarctica and take photos, or to, make sure my kids have got a great education, or to, become a painter, or whatever it might be. That's what I say to people. People.
Yeah, love it, mate. Love it. It's not the end of the world. You can find your passion. Like if you've got your business, of course you've given us the process, but I mean, if you are stuck, if you currently feel stuck in your business, the only solution isn't to get out of that business.
In actual fact, Tim, one of the things I say to people is that, I say there's 6 emotions that sit around people. And I'm not sure if we've got time to explain all 6 of them, but one of them is when it comes to achievement, there are a lot of people who feel unsatisfied. So what does that look like? They look good, they smell good, they've achieved heaps, are still achieving heaps. They drive a nice car, the kids go to a good school, they go on nice holidays, but they're not fulfilled. Mm. And now the most people would give them a solution that says, well, you start making money and everything like that. And look, you and I both work with a lot of financial planners, and they've been beaten up over the last few years and things like that. And a lot of them have lost their energy and enthusiasm for their businesses. And that applies to lots of people in business. And the logical thing that most people would say, well, I'll sell it. I'll go and do something else. I'll go and get a job, or I'll buy another business or whatever. And that's not the solution. Not the solution initially.
Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid solution because the underlying problem is not going to necessarily go away.
No. So here's my advice. Fall back in love with it.
Yeah.
Fall back in love with it.
Yeah.
At some stage you were exceptional at it because of whatever reason. And so often the key to falling back in love with your business is getting people to stop doing the $25 hour jobs and get them to go and do the $250 hour jobs, the $2,500 hour jobs. Mm. But it's because most people, when you say to them, what do you love to do in your business? Oh, I love to talk to the people. I love to do this, or I love to do that. And then I say, what do you do the very least in your business? It's exactly the things they love to do.
Yeah. Correct. Hey, Keithy, I want to just move this conversation away from passion now, although it is related. Yes. One of the things, having worked with you and got to know you over the last 12 months. And listeners, Keith and I have shared stages at conferences. Keith was one of the members of a speakers retreat that I went away to recently, and we've drunk a bit of coffee when he makes his way down to Melbourne. One of the things, Keith, that I admire in you so much is your capacity to be generous, and I want to explore that before we finish up. And my question is, being generous is beautiful. My observation is, and I'll put myself into this basket as well as many others, that we're not generous enough as humans, and I represent small business owners. I think we could be more generous.
Yes.
How you've bought into this idea of being generous big time. How do you do it? What's it done for your business? Is this a surprise to you? Talk to me.
Man, great question. I would never thought. Look, I know I'm generous, but it's not at the forefront.
Don't be humble.
No. I think it's about the whole law of reciprocity. I think of all the people that have helped me along the way, and I just have this obligation. No, not obligation. That's the wrong word. I just have this genuine thought that what goes around comes around, and the seed I plant over there, I'll reap somewhere else, and I just know that. The universe is a great place that if it knows that your intentions are right and your attention is right, then opportunities will come to you, in great abundance. Mm-hmm. And
do you actively go? Do you have strategies for being generous?
No, I don't. No, I just I think. I think that the real key around generosity is being grateful. Mm-hmm. So if you're grateful for everything, and I have this saying, Tim, and I know it's a bit, woo-woo.
Come on.
But everything's perfect. I mean, when things are not great, everything's perfect. I mean, what's the message? What do I need to learn from this? What do I need to be able to take away from it? And so often when things aren't perfect, it's just, the life's way of preparing you for what's down the track.
I have a beautiful meditation teacher who's been in my life for a number of years. Her name's Jacqueline, and she has a saying which is, Tim, everything is accurate. It's all accurate.
Yeah,
and I think we're in this. It's the same, isn't it? It's like things are how they are to be for a reason. Not sure what that has to do with generosity, but it's
no. But I think it's all part of it. Generosity is. I just like, I like, Tim. Here's my philosophy in all this. I like to help. I like to help people. I like, my whole. If you said to me, what's the real essence of my manifesto in life, it's to make a difference. And my way of making a difference is by giving, sharing knowledge, adding value, being of service, helping people where I can, and and I don't know if I've got a strategy around that, but it's just part of my DNA.
What question, just to finish off, Keithy, what question could listeners leave asking themselves around generosity? I mean, clearly, how could I be more generous? What are three things that I could do right now? Maybe you could tell them to be more generous once this episode finishes.
Well, I believe the first is to be open to it. Mm-hmm. There are lots of opportunities every day to be generous, from as simple as putting some money in somebody's car parking meter.
Oh yes,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
I mean, nobody will ever know it. Nobody will ever. But in your own heart of hearts, you will know that you've done something that's made a difference.
Yep.
It's the coffee. The pay it forward coffee.
Yes.
It's just taking an extra bit of time to explain something to people.
Listeners, I'm going up to town now. I'm going to put some money in someone's parking meter. I am going to pay for the person's coffee behind me, if there happens to be one, or even if there isn't. Next person, please, here's $5 for their coffee. and I'll high-five a stranger in Collins Street. There you go.
So all of the listeners, avoid a Collins Street immediately.
Yeah, avoid...
Warning alert.
Yeah. Don't park in Collins Street, don't get a coffee in Collins Street, and avoid anyone who tries to give you a high five. Hey, Keithy, I have absolutely loved talking to you, and I want people to get more of you. Listeners, head over to keithabraham.com. I am going to put a link in the show notes of this episode to Keith's site. He's got a great book. He's got a number of books, actually, but one is It Starts With Passion. Buy it, read it, action it, because there's some gold in there. And I've noticed you've got some other ebooks there, Keithy. Your 25 questions, your 100 lifetime dreams, creating your to-do list, your life to-do list, all that stuff. I've loved it, mate. Thank you so much for sharing on this show, for your generosity and making the world a better place. Keith Abraham.
Tim, it's been an absolute delight chatting with you, mate. Let's do it again soon.
What a good fellow. See, I told you. Didn't I tell you in the intro? Why don't you go and tell him what a lovely fellow he is and how much you enjoyed the interview over at Twitter. Keith's on Twitter at Keith L. Abraham. Now, if you're wondering, I did do 2 of the 3 things when I went into the city that Keith and I were talking about. Paying for someone's coffee, paying for someone's parking, and or high-fiving someone. I did 2 of the 3. I'll let you guess which of the 2. What a wonderful interview on behalf of Net Registry and 99 Designs. Thank you for that. Here's my top 5 learnings from speaking to Keithy. Number 1, when your why becomes clear, the how will find you. I love that. Spend time getting clear on your why, team. And Keith's got some workshops coming up that if you want to work with him to do that, I would suggest you do them. And they're inexpensive workshops, I've got to tell you. Number 2 learning, be receptive. Be open to things. Be open to the world tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, here's a solution to your conundrum. Number 3, create space. Make room on your plate. I love that. Don't get a bigger plate. Just move stuff off your existing plate of things that you are doing, that you don't want to be doing, and create space for the good stuff. Live passionately, hey? Number 4, when you achieve something, it gives you confidence to achieve something better. In the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, we've got a little section where we share our little wins and we celebrate those little wins. You got to. If you don't, who's going to? So achieve something, feel what it's like to make that achievement, and then you'll go on to do even better things. Learning number 5 from Keithy, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. An oldie but a goodie, that one. I do love that. It's about branding, personal branding, business branding. Stand for something in your consumers, in your customers, in your best mate's mind. You know? Otherwise, you're just vanilla. You fade into the background. They're my top 5 learnings. What were yours? Leave a comment in the show notes. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit Keith up on Twitter. Oh, passion. Hey, here's a link to Keith's upcoming seminars around Australia on the Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne and Auckland. Here it is, tinyurl.com/Passionate Life Seminar. tinyurl.com, Passionate Life Seminar. I'll put that out on Twitter and around the place as well, but I would suggest you do it. It's like $147 to spend a day with the great man, Mr. Passionate. You can also visit him at keithabraham.com. Boy, oh boy, I hope you enjoyed that fireside chat as much as I did bringing it to you. I don't know whether we need an inspirational marketing quote of the week following that little chat with Keith. He's full of quotes. Love a good quote. I find them inspirational. Anyway, I'll share one with you anyway because I've got it all lined up. It's from David Ogilvy, famous old ad guy, great copywriter. He once said this: the best ideas come as jokes. Make your thinking as funny as possible. Nice, huh? Remember I interviewed Troy and Zara from Humour Australia a few episodes ago? They're my speaking coaches and stand-up comedians. And they reckon humour is the gateway to everything. If you can make people laugh, if you can put a smile on their dial, then you're halfway to building a wonderful tribe, a wonderful, loyal customer base. You don't have to be like funny guy. You don't have to be like Jerry Seinfeld. You just need to put a smile on people's dial. The best ideas come as jokes. Make your thinking as funny as possible. Thanks, David Ogilvy. Now it's time to say goodbye. If you enjoyed this episode, then you are going to love the marketing GOLD I have in store for you in upcoming episodes. To never miss a second, simply subscribe on iTunes or on your favourite podcast app. I love Downcast. That's what I use. Be sure to hit me up for a chat on Twitter over at Timbo Reid, R-E-I-D. If you want to pay it forward, guys, then go ahead and tell another motivated small business owner about the show, the Small Business Big Marketing Show. They're going to love you forever. And be sure to use 99 Designs for all your design needs and Net Registry to get your online marketing sorted. A very, very big thank you to all those of you who've left a review on iTunes or a comment in the show notes. You know who you are, and I read and respond to them all. And a very big hug, a special warm thanks to my forum members. Your commitment to growing your business through smart marketing absolutely inspires me. If you're not a member of the forum yet, head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and click on that forum button, or go to crankmymarketing.com and it'll get to you to the same place. Enough. Until next week, may your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.